Okay, today's Friday, 7:44 p.m. It's March 6th. It's March 6th. And today's March 6th. And for the past 1 week, I haven't traded much at all. Okay? I got caught up on my thinking, making some connections in my thinking of the experiences that I've acquired, all in the pursuit of being a successful day trader, which I am not at currently. But I have everything, I have all the ducks aligned. The ducks that I'm aware of. So, this little mishap with this bank thing, hopefully it'll clear up, and hopefully Wells Fargo won't be a big problem. Hopefully it'll be a cost I'll incur, right? It's the cost. So hopefully this will clear up early next week, and Oanda will take care of that and alleviate it, and then everything will be back on track. Okay, and the domino will stop. The domino effect will stop at that point. Okay, so because I have a bill that I need to pay for the rent here, which I do love, and I am very thankful. Okay, I am very, very thankful. So I'm looking forward to that. And so I've been thinking about this. Now, why am I dragging my feet? Okay, why am I dragging my feet in this pursuit of working towards being a profitable trader? Okay, so I've been thinking about this. Now, so I've been thinking about this Al Brooks course, which I've been studying for quite a while. So if there is a guarantee, okay, if there is a guarantee that if I buy a course and study his material, and it is 100% proven that when I finish his course, that I will be profitable, okay? So if there's a 100% guarantee, okay? If there's a 100% guarantee, but nothing is, in life, there's nothing in guarantee whatsoever, right? Nothing. Nothing is a guarantee. Except for Jesus, okay? Nothing. There's nothing in guarantee, okay? So I was thinking about this. Now it just reminds me of the things that people are divulging. People who are profitable, they divulge stuff. They say something. They have interviews, and I'm trying. And then I'm like trying to understand. Now I'm trying to put things together. I'm trying to put piece together things. Okay, I'm trying to put piece things together. All right. I'm trying to piece things together, trying to understand, trying to understand. I'm trying to piece together things about what's been happening in trading. Okay, I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to piece together things that will allow me to understand what trading is really about, right? Okay. Right. So that's what I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to piece together what trading is really about. All right. So I've been thinking about this. Now people are professionals. Okay, people who are professionals, they talk about this. They talk about a lot of these things. People who are professionals, people who are professionals, people who So I've been thinking about this. Now, why do people sell courses? And when people sell courses, when people sell courses, now when people sell courses, are they intent? So I'm trying to like figure this out. I'm trying to really figure this out. So because I'm having a dilemma. Okay, I'm having a dilemma. Okay. And what is this dilemma? The dilemma is this. The dilemma is this. If I know something, then chances are everyone else will know. Now, in my little mind, very, very little mind, limited mind, okay? In my little mind in thinking, okay? In my little mind of thinking. Now, if I divulge the processes of being profitable, I can explain it. I can explain how that would occur, right? So if I were to describe it, I would describe it this way. But I don't know it yet. I don't know how to be profitable yet because I'm not profitable. But if I were to divulge it in this manner, I would say this. Okay, so trading, when I make a trade, it doesn't work all the time. Okay? It's obvious. It doesn't work all the time. So that means that I have to think about, I have to literally think about. Now, I essentially have to think about how to conduct that trading. So because nothing is certain. Nothing is certain in trading. So when I make a trade, okay, it's going to be a recognizable trade. I know something about that trade. Okay, I know something about that trade, and so that's why I'm taking the trade, right? And the reason that I'm failing in my trade is because I'm not aware of the loss to win combination. Okay, I'm not aware of it. That's why, right? That's why. With the fact, so there's three things that's occurring, right? There's three things. So there's quite a few things if I were to describe it. Okay, so I have to find a setup which doesn't work all the time, but find a setup that I have proven to myself. Okay, proven to myself that is essentially is effective. Okay. I have to prove it out to myself that it is effective, right? Now, the reason why I'm elaborating is because I don't have clarity in this matter yet. But if I were to say, okay, so what would happen if somebody is profitable? If somebody's profitable, I would say to them, okay, this is the setup that works. And when this setup is stated, then I have to put the stop loss here, and then I have to put the profit target there. And here's where the entry point is. And this is the setup. So there's four things that I would know, okay? One, this is the setup. Two, this is the entry. Three, this is where the stop loss is. Four, this is where the profit target is. Okay, that's it. That's all that's required, right? Okay, those are the four things that I would be aware of, right? There are four things. Okay, one, I'm going to repeat it again. This is the setup. Setup is very, very important. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove emotion now. Now that I've explored emotion, I'm just gonna clearly remove emotion. I'm gonna completely sever it. I'm going to essentially just, I'm going to bury my emotion. Okay, I'm gonna bury it. I'm gonna put it 6 feet under. I'm going to take that emotion and I'm gonna put it into the burial ground. I'm going to put a tombstone on it. I'm going to put a tombstone on it, and the tombstone will say, what would the tombstone say? It will say, rest in peace, emotion. Okay? It'll be called a ripe. It'll be ripe. It's ripe. You know what happens when something is ripe? It's time to pick it. Okay? It's time to harvest it. I'll call it ripe. Okay? R-I-P-E. Ripe. Rest in peace, emotion. Okay? I'm gonna do a little quick push-ups, okay? I'm gonna do some push-ups. Okay. All right. I'm an old man, so I can only do 40 push-ups at a time. Okay? So, okay. So here's the situation. So I've been thinking about this, right? So I've been thinking about this. Why would somebody who's profitable show people how they make money? Why? Because here's my thinking. They wouldn't do that. Why? Because they have to protect it. Because they have information that cannot be shared. Because if everybody uses it, then it won't be effective afterwards. Okay, that's why. So that's why people who are profitable, they won't divulge. They won't divulge their secret because they're using it to make money. Okay, does that make sense? I'm doing that too. I'm thinking about this. Okay, so because what I was gonna do is this. I was gonna go step-by-step process of taking a setup. Okay. I was going to take a step-by-step process of defining a setup and then walking through all the way through the point where I specify directly what the statistical result is. After I determine that it's profitable, okay, then anybody who follows through this step-by-step process will be profitable because they're gonna be following it on blind faith because it works. Okay? They don't even have to discover what emotion is. They don't have to discover anything else, okay? Right? So I thought about that and I thought, hey, why would anybody want to do that? Why would anybody want to sacrifice the years of hard work that they have performed and then give it to somebody else for free? Because when something is free, they're going to be able to review it in one day and apply it. Whereas somebody like myself or somebody who's profitable spent years and years and years trying to figure out how trading works. So why would anybody, okay, with free, especially free, why would anybody, they wouldn't do that. So people who are profitable like Al Brooks, okay, it took him 10 years to figure this out, charges people money so that he can show them how to make money, okay? So that's the people who really do know, they charge money for it. Okay, so I thought about that too. Not to make money, but just to put it up there so that I can document my progress to becoming a profitable trader, right? So obviously they wouldn't do that. I don't think most people wouldn't do that because they would keep it to themselves. People will keep it to themselves. If they really know how to trade, they're going to keep it to themselves. So even if I know, I would be hard pressed to tell people how to make money. I wouldn't do that. I probably wouldn't do that. I would keep it to myself. The reality is this. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to document my progress towards it without divulging it. But I will describe the. Actually, I've already done that, didn't I? Okay, I've already done that. I've already disclosed my setups. But now it's the part of me knowing the intricacies of that particular setup so that I can use it. So I've already described what my intentions are. But now it's now I need to figure out how to divulge it by means of describing it in detail so that I know precisely the window of opportunity for me for those four parts, which are essentially knowing the setup inside and out. Okay, knowing the setups inside and out. That's one. Okay, as somebody who's been trying to make it profitable, I'm not profitable, but here's what I think it is. Okay, it's not what I know. Here's what I think it is. Okay, so essentially, I figure out what the setup is. Okay, I define what the setup is. Then I determine where the stop loss is going to be, okay, and then where the entry point, where the entry point is, where the stop loss is, and where the take profit point is. When I know those four things, okay, but it seems to me that the stop loss that I need to put on there is going to have to be below that support area, okay, below that support area. If it breaks that support area, then there's no point in keeping it, okay. Because it broke the support area, and chances are it's going to keep going down to the next support area. Okay, so that's one given already understood. The second part is the take profit area is going to be right below where that major resistance is. Okay, so that's a given. Those are two given already. Those are the givens, so it makes the job a lot easier. Okay, so no, that's it. Now the entry point is. The area where it can qualify, where it can qualify as an A+ setup. Okay, it can qualify as an A+ setup. It can qualify as an A+ setup when that particular setup has evolved to the point where I can say that without being 100% correct. Okay, without being 100% correct. Now, how does something become an A+ setup when? How does something become an A+ setup when I don't know? Okay, see, something is A+ plus is if I know that is 100% accurate, right? That's A+. That's the definition of what A+ is. So if it's not 100%, it's not hindsight, obviously. Okay, if it's not hindsight, then what makes it? Okay, then what makes it? So what makes it A+ is knowing that on a statistical and a Pareto of distribution of results, then I know that in most cases, meeting up to so 100% is not A++. Okay, it's something less than 100%, which is considered A+, right? Because 100% can only happen if it is hindsight. Anything can happen. There could be outliers. There could be a black swan event that occurs that causes the trade, to be to deviate from the expected value. Okay. Something could deviate from the expected value. That's the idea. Okay, so that means I have to have a scenario where I enter into a trade, knowing the partiality of the setup. When I see it, it's not a fully formed setup. It's a partiality of a setup. When I've determined that it is a partiality of a setup, then and I place a value on it, calling it A plus, even though it's not a hindsight. So once I define it that way, then it is an A plus setup, and I take the trade. Okay, so based on that knowledge of what I know, then what do I do next? Okay. Okay. I haven't given up. I have not given up yet. I have not given up. So I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Okay, if I complicate it too much, if I complicate it too much, it'll be too difficult to figure out. Okay, if I complicate it too much, I cannot make it too complicated. I cannot make it complicated. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. And based on what I've seen so far, the simplicity is this. All I have to do is define a setup. I have to come up with a setup. Once I come up with a setup, then I can define where the entry point is. I can know where the stop loss is, and I know where the profit target is. And stop loss is incredibly important. If the setup and entry point are clearly defined, the stop loss will not be impacted whatsoever, right? Because the setup has been clearly defined, and the stop loss is at a point where it's supposed to be, which means that if the setup is legitimate, then that essentially means that the setup is correct, and it'll perform in most cases the way that it's supposed to be behave. But in cases where it does not, then the stop loss will catch it. Okay, that's the whole idea, right? So many people talk about 1-to-1 R, 1-to-2 R, 2-to-1 R, 3-to-1 R, and all that stuff, right? Oh, they're talking about that. They're talking about now. They're really describing the. Now they're describing. They're applying what is rudimentary, that everybody on a same page, to put everybody on the same page. Okay, to put everybody on the same page. Okay, to put everybody on the same page, there are four things that are discussed. There are four things that are discussed where everybody talks about and everybody gets into, aside from talking about emotions. And I'm gonna put emotion. I'm gonna bury my emotion. I'm gonna put it I'm going to rest in peace emotion. Emotion will be put into the grave. Emotion will no longer be an impediment into my trading. No more. As long as I define my setup, the entry point, the stop loss, and a profit target, okay? The setup, entry point, stop loss, and okay? So entry point, okay, the setup, the entry point, okay? The setup, the entry point, okay? The stop loss, and the profit target. As long as I define those, okay? So, okay, now I gotta do a setup here. I'm gonna do some setups. I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna figure this. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure this out. Okay. I'm gonna figure this out. Okay. I'm gonna figure this out. Okay. I gotta do a little. I gotta do a little sit-ups here to exercise my major muscles. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna exercise my major muscles. Okay. All right, so the whole idea is to bury my emotion. Okay? That's the idea. Okay, so those are the four knowns. One of the things that I need to be aware of, is after I get that out, I have to bury it. I essentially have to bury my emotion. Okay? I have to bury my emotion. Once I bury my emotion, okay, the first thing I knew is to bury my emotion. Okay, so now I buried my emotion. Okay. So then I defined setup, entry, stop loss, and take profit. Okay? So I define those. Now, what is common with so this all goes back to SMB Capital. They have some really good stuff. They have really good concepts, very useful, solid concepts that I have discovered. Okay? And this idea, which is logical, it obviously it does make sense, right? Okay, so that means okay, so what did I say? They said this. I'll figure this out one of these days. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out when it's too late, or I'll figure out just in time, or I'll figure out before. Okay? But most likely I'll figure out just in time. Okay, just in time. Okay? I won't figure out afterwards because that would be too late. Okay? I can't figure out too early because it can't be too early. It's not possible to be too early because I can't figure it out if it's too early, right? So there's a commonality. There's a commonality which leads me back because I heard this. I heard him say that. He says that a course is setting up really well, but it has to have a breakout in order to be tradable because it could be sitting there forever, right? The price. So this guy, I saw this interview with they're talking about this. They're saying that okay, so everything looks good, okay. The PE ratio is good. The VWAP point's good. The fundamentals look good. The news is good, and management is good. The everything looks good, but it hasn't broken out. It hasn't broken out yet. Okay, sure, I could get in there and wait, but there isn't something that indicates to me that there is a imminent or some signature that says that it's breaking out. Okay, that's something that I need to be aware of. So I have to. That is essentially the focal point of interaction between this world and the next world. The next world essentially is transitioning from the current structure into the next structure. Okay. Because that's what the breakout does. The breakout is transition. A breakout is essentially the point where a structure lends itself to enter into another structure. Or something that tells me that something is already in that structure and it is continuing in that structure, which is a continuation of that structure. Which essentially is a structure that has broken out into that structure, and that structure is still relevant. That means that when I enter into it, then I'm in part of that structure where that breakout still occurred. That means that there is room for a further breakout within that same structure. A breakout on top of a breakout, extending is an extension of that breakout. That's what it is, essentially, right? Yeah. So it has to have a breakout, okay? It has to have a breakout. The focal point is called a breakout. Okay, so there has to be a signature of this breakout, and so there's two types of trades that I'm going to be excruciatingly in detail exploring now that I have a fast computer which has 20 cores. Actually nowadays I heard some of these guys who are doing like gaming on their PCs, they have like 122 cores, which means that they could run like. They can have like 120 windows open at the same time, simultaneously running at full speed, right? So I could have 20 applications that I'm running at the same time, at full speed, exchanging memories and things like that, right? So that's the current situation, okay? Now that I have this set up, now I'm primed to move forward and really give this a go. It's ripe. Okay, it's ripe. It's time to pluck it. It's time to harvest. It's time to harvest. In a farming language, it's time, it's ripe, it's time to take to market. Okay? Take to market. Apparently, in marketing terminology, it's called a take to the market kind of thing, right? I suppose that's what it is. Take to market. So now I'm gonna elaborate. I'm gonna keep elaborating on this situation, okay? On this current situation. So there has to be a breakout. Breakout is knowing where that transition occurs in the description of that. So I have to be aware of what the setup is, and then I have to know where within that setup the breakout occurs. Okay. So there is a formation. There's essentially a formation, okay? There's essentially a formation of that setup, okay? The setup period is called a pre. And then there's a point where there is territory of the possibilities, okay? And then there's a confirmation that occurs in this area where the reality of that setup becomes evident. Okay, so there's a picture of this situation. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 is essentially the hindsight. It is 2020 because it has already occurred. The inevitability of what I'm looking for has occurred. It looks like this, I can see it. It has this, I can see it. It has this, I can see it. It already happened. Okay? So there are three elements. There are three elements that describe to me that it has happened. Okay? There are three elements. The first element is the setup itself. Setup within the setup. Okay? There is a setup of a setup that occurs in order for me to realize the full development of the setup, essentially, right? So setup is essentially these three things, okay? 1, 2, 3, right? So there has to be a breakout period where I say, oh, I'm going to take this trade from this area, because I recognize it as a setup. And then once I enter into it, then statistically A plus situation, it's going to occur from here to here. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm taking the trade. So within a setup, there is a setup. Okay, there is a setup of a setup. Okay, setup is this, a pattern. It's a pattern has setups. The pattern, which is essentially is a setup, essentially has the conditioning that allows me to set it up to get into a period where I'm entering into a breakout. I want to enter into the trade where the breakout has already occurred or is imminent to occur. That's the idea. So in order for me to make it as simple as possible, what I'm looking for is area 1, area 2, and then area 3. So that means in order for me to recognize that, so I'm freely thinking about this now. That means that I need two conditions to be a reality. Okay, when these two things become a reality, then I can extrapolate. Okay, I can extrapolate to figure out whether the third conditions will occur or not. Okay, and the occurrence and the reality of the third situation is based on the probability of that setup becoming a reality. Okay, right? So now, okay. So then I'm asking myself, okay, so why not just look at area 2 to see what area 3 does? Okay. So then I have to qualify that and say, okay, well, the reason why is because I have to create a condition where it provides, which is essentially the confluences. Essentially, that's how SMB Capital trades, right? SMB Capital. I don't work there, but based on what my studies have, they have this page and they lick bullet items listed, and those are confluences. Those are confluences. I've seen what they're doing. I'm just looking at it, and they say they have a list of confluences. Okay, but unless that trigger event occurs where that breakout occurs, then it's essentially at that moment is irrelevant because it could be sitting there at that moment, right? So now I have to so okay, so now I'm gonna really look into implementing this as far as two applications. One of them is going to be called soft support. The second one is called a breakout. Now the soft support also has breakout, but I just call it that. But now the breakout essentially is I'm looking at a couple of situations. One of them is break and retest. Okay, that would be a clear example. It's a clear example where the price has breached the resistance area. Now it's breaking out. Okay, so then I have to clearly define. So I have an idea. Okay, now I see what the qualifications are. Okay, now I see what the qualifications are. That's the breakout. Okay, so that's the breakout that I'm looking for. That's the breakout. So I heard, I've watched YouTube quite a bit, and I've seen many of the traders before, and they describe it in a manner where they understand it, and they say that, well, it doesn't work all the time, and some people call it some people call it the ABC trade, or some people call it the PCP trade, or something like that, right? And so there's like an A, B, C condition that occurs. So the first part is A has to set up, which will break the resistance. After it hits the resistance, it's going to pull back, which is the part B part. And then the part C part is after it breaks out, it's gonna move up and then breach that resistance area and then hold. That's the C part. That's where the entry occurs. Okay, that's where the entry occurs for the breakout. One in particular is the ABC trade. Quote, ABC trade. Okay, essentially. So if I were to describe that, that's how it works. Now the support area is going to be essentially essentially defining what the range is. Range bound support. That's the range-bound support area, okay? The other part is it is established a consolidation support. It's a double positive. It's describing the same thing, right? When something is consolidating, it's reached the point where it's consolidating right there. Okay, it has established itself. Now there's a hint that it's breaking out. Okay, then that would be the consolidation support. The second part is when it's range bound, when it's ranging either this way or this way or this way or this way or something like that, right? Then there is essentially within that channel, there is a support and resistance area. So when something is trending, it could be this way. What is moving within that channel, which is essentially a range bound, and that range bound is skewed in a manner where it essentially is, even though it's trending, within it is trending, range bound, right? So that's what I'm looking for. So then now that I have the complicated matter of bearing my emotion, okay, I'm bearing my emotion. Now I'm going to go into the details of describing. See, I'm divulging everything, okay? I'm divulging it. Okay, I'm divulging this now, okay? I know what mission is. I know what I'm going to be doing, and I know what I'm going to be trading. I'm divulging everything. I'm divulging it, okay? After years of studying, I'm divulging. Whether it's useful or not, okay? Whether it's useful or not, I'm going to start making money on it. I'm going to be trading that way. And hopefully it proves out to be valid. Okay, I'm putting this onto YouTube because it's not certain yet. Okay, there's no value in this YouTube video because there's no value that has been generated on this idea. But I'm going with it. I'm gonna start seeking it. I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna see how effective it is, based on exploring these two avenues, which I found it to be most common in these trading, right? So okay. So now I'm gonna connect this. I'm going to connect this this newfound. I'm going to connect this newfound perspective in trading, and then move forward with it. Okay. So basically, I'm going to explore these two avenues and see how I can apply it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop this video at this point, and I'm going to pick up on these two and connect the dots. Right. For now, it's ripe. It's really ripe. It's time to pick. It's rest in peace, emotion. Ripe. We're ripe. We're really ripe.